You know, it's part of the program generally we're talking about. First and foremost, let them the police think that we came here because of them.
No.
But we are here because of the abuses that we are suffering in our system. In the very first place, the police have become more or less debt collectors. A lot of people go to the police in matters which there is no criminality whatsoever.
So
And
senior, distinguish for us the criminal, the civil. Let us understand. And then.
Well, criminality essentially talks about kinds of conduct that the state has legislated as given constituting offenses. Well, the first principle in criminal law is that there is nothing which is criminal unless it is in writing. And therefore, offenses have been defined. For instance, stealing, the definition of stealing is appropriating a thing that is not yours. Anytime somebody appropriates a thing that is not yours, we've got defrauding by false pretenses. We've got all kinds of offenses, but each one is defined in a book or a statute. I mean, in Ghana, we've got what we call Act 29, that's the Criminal Act. Today is the Criminal and Other Offences Act. That's what we call it now. So it must be in there. When you have committed a criminal offense and you take into court, like you have done something against the laws of the state, and when you are convicted, that is to say, if the court finds you guilty at the end of the day, then you are either punished or given a fine or to both. So therefore, if even you are the victim of that conduct, then you are only helping the state to do the prosecution of that matter. The same set of facts can give rise to what we call a civil act. A civil act essentially is a right that a person derives in law to bring an action against another person at whose hands he has suffered something. It could be anything. We have, and the difference between the two is that in a civil action, it ends up, the end of civil action is compensation, damages. You are restored to your position, what we call status quo ante. In other words, the position that you would have been by for the wrongful conduct. So in the case where, for instance, somebody, I borrow money from you in circumstances that shows that at the time that I borrowed, I did not intend to pay. That's fraud by false pretenses. I defrauded you. In other words, obtained your consent by lying to you. And on the basis of that, you gave me the money. But for that lie, you would not have parted with your money. That's criminal.
So that's why the police comes.
If I deliver you to the police and they prosecute you, the court may jail you, the court may convict you and sentence you to a fine, but I won't get my money. The judge is not going to make an order that the money that you obtain by false pretenses must be given to me.
Most people don't understand that.
People do not know, and that's the biggest mistake that I'm very sorry, I'm a lawyer, but I don't even encourage my clients to pursue a lot of these criminal matters. If you borrow my money, we will sue you. When we go to court, we're able to prove our case. The court will end up making an order for the refund or repayment of that money together with the interest, with any losses that I have made over the period that you deprived me of my money. So we are talking about that. But your initial question is about a man who, with knowledge that there's no criminality whatsoever, an ordinary transaction, two parties have taken your money, and for some reason, if they have not paid, I've not defrauded you. I've told you what I needed it for. For some reason or the other, I've not been able to make the money. There's no criminality whatsoever.
So, but police shouldn't come in the first place.
It has nothing to do with the police. So with the policeman, when this matter goes to him, if you permit me, I'll share an experience.
Please do, senior.
I once did business online, eBay. I bought a car that was shipped to me to Ghana. But the guys scammed me by taking the freight and whatever, the money. They say I have the money for the shipping the car to me, $1,200. And he with the only when the car came to Ghana that I realized that even though he took the money, he had not paid the shippers. So the shippers made a demand on me. Yes? So I traced everything and managed to make a call to the nearest police station where the guy operated. I got through to the police and he started talking to me. And I said, yes. I gave them all the file. I said, look, if you did business and somebody defrauded you, took $1,000, that's a civil case. Go to civil court. I didn't tell the person I was a lawyer. know. But that is in America. They don't have time. These kind of things that police do here, they don't really have time. They're dealing with real crimes. They're dealing with real issues. They're dealing with essential matter. This business that you go, somebody bought somebody cassava, he has not paid. Then the police have a business in it. Somebody, oh, come on. You know, I think our police, I'm very sorry, even though these are real issues, but I think our police are misusing their time and everything.
So it means that if you owe someone, it's not a criminal matter.
And
the police doesn't come in. It's between you can go to court and go and sue me for your money.
Yeah, to recover
they use the police to put pressure, you know, on people. The whole thing is an abuse. And when the money is paid, of course, they are tax collectors. They get their portion.
Okay, so King Blay is asking us a question. He said, but the police will never grant that bail when you don't pay. So how best can we go about it? Justice.
Oh, this is very, very interesting. I once had a client who was detained by the police. I mean, I think for more than 7 days. The police did not present him before any court. They were still detaining him. So, I mean, one of his relatives got to me. So immediately I had to issue what they call habeas corpus application. It means essentially is to produce the person in custody. So we went to court. The court ordered that the person should be released. So when you have a situation like this, the best thing that you can do is to get in touch with your lawyer. Your lawyer will know how best to pursue the matter. You need to go to court to seek that they present you to the court so that the court can make further orders on that.
Lois.
Okay, so I think that another immediate action that one can take when you see that a state officer is proving a bit difficult, but it's not acting right, is to report to the next level of that institution. So you are in your community police, which is like a district police station. Go to the headquarters that station falls under and report the action of that personnel. And
I always thought the police had each other's back.
They do.
You know, yeah, they do. But when they see that you are ready to move it to the next level, and sometimes he alone, the person doing it is, I'm the only person perpetrating that. So when they see that you know you're right and you push it to the next level, they will become a bit careful.
No,
so,
but the question becomes that you are in custody, you have been held for that long. Do you have the appetite to go through the same system that has detained you unlawfully?
No, this one, he was asking that you, okay, fine. But you know, sometimes these people are around, their colleagues and friends who are around pleading that they should release. And so normally, few people are only in custody without nobody's knowledge. So whoever is around should be able to immediately get to the next level of that institution. Sometimes when they get to the next level, immediately they call the
superior.
Yeah. I mean, it works. So I always encourage people that get to the next level. And then one person also, just this weekend, also about making a complaint. And then the police was trying to take some money and said, do you know that, is your district officer aware of what you are taking from me? You know, he said, what are you saying? He said, is your district officer aware of what you say? You people cry, you started becoming stubborn, you go. So you shouldn't just stand there helpless. Prove that you know the law. Let the police know you want to get to the next level. Sometimes they become a bit careful and then they change their stance.
Kimberly, I hope your question has been answered. So another question. What do I do when my child is being abused or defiled? What do I do? The child is being abused.
Defilement, wow. That's a very egregious crime to commit against the child. Usually in our part of the world, we tend to, as it were, handle some of these difficult issues internally, you know. Sometimes the perpetrator will come and see the family of the victim and they would attempt to settle this crime, you know, within the family, and some sort of compensation should be done. I think it's the wrong thing. The first thing that must be done is that a report has to be lodged at the police station. It is very, very important that that is done timeously so that the police can issue you with a medical form. Evidence can be taken so that they can proceed to assist the victim. I think the domestic violence legislation has some provisions for victims of domestic violence and all other similar crimes, psychological help and other assistance. So the police have that facility to be able to provide a victim with that support. But the first and most important thing is not to stay in your house. You must take the first step, go to the police station and make a complaint. Then the police will take it from there.
You know, let me say something about what I read yesterday on Ghana Web. It's about a man who has defiled his own daughter of 11 years. And when was brought to the court, very funnily, he said, "My lord, caution me and let me go home so that I can look after my daughter because the mother is dead and there's nobody to take care of her." Of course, the judge, in my view, did the right thing by convicting the man, sentenced him to, I think, 21 years or so.
21,
because
that's a good one.
it included all kinds of things. It did not only defile her, it included sodomizing her and all of that. But immediately, my mind went to, where is this girl going to go?
Yeah.
Those are the real issues that face our society. This is a victim by her own father. The father has been jailed. Her mother is dead. Does the state have any support system for such victims? Those are the real issues. The last time that I spoke on this matter, I never got into trouble. But I'm sure our lady here can do some justice to that issue about victims of abuse. Because your question is, where do you go? After you go, what happens next? Until only about this year, that now the Ghana, one of the medical association, whatever, even resolved the issue of medical fees for victims of abuse. Doctors were demanding so much money before they will even give this thing. When people die, you want a medical report, I mean, involved in accident, you want a medical report, there's a fee outside the, what do you call it? I mean, this is Ghana. We really don't know what we are doing in this country. You know? So victims, what does the society, what does the country, we are here as lawyers. Of course, there's a limit to what we can even talk about. We are talking about the support system that are existing. I are taking the view that what exists can hardly be seen. But like I said, I don't want to get into more trouble, but it's an issue that as we discuss this matter and others come in, we may be looking at that side of the law. I mean, much more than maybe it is as we sit here. Yes.
So another area is someone is talking about, we're always talking about women's rights. What about men's rights? Aren't men being marginalized, discriminated against, ignored? Lois, you're always talking about women's rights, what about the rights of men?
Yeah, okay. You know why women have become a priority is because our social, how our society is structured and how our laws are made. Many favors the men over women. Many times during the decision-making table in the development of some of the laws, there may not even be a woman or so. So many times it favors men over women. So, and then men in the society seem to have some power and have some kind of opportunities in terms of networking and other things. So they're able to fight for justice better than women. That's why it seems that there is so much focus on women's rights. But that doesn't mean that the law does not protect the rights of men. The law is not gender insensitive. Makes provision for everybody in the society. There is no special laws preserved for women in our laws. There are few provisions that will speak either for men or women, but the law is gender neutral. So I would say that men also have, with whatever we are discussing, it's not specific for women or men. Some young boys are defiled, young girls are defiled. The same access to justice pathways that we are discussing is still reserved for both men and women. So it's not like if a man has a problem, all that we are discussing, he should be able to take advantage of them and access
men
justice.
usually are macho, right? Justice. Our men are macho. They don't want to be. I'm saying a man too. So you don't do anything.
I think you just have to lift the veil. Sometimes some men are really suffering. And we said for them to, usually
Yes, the bill.
within the context of the domestic, environment, you have some men being abused by their wives, their spouses, and also relatives. They feel like, well, I'm a man. If I should make a report that my wife has assaulted me, how would I be
My wife
viewed?
has beaten me.
I mean,
See, if I say assaulted,
oh, sorry,
beating
beating me. Sorry. So it tends to work on your ego, on your person as a man. I mean, you feel like, how would society even view? Am I so weak that I cannot stand? But that is why we have this program. If you're a man and you are going through such difficulties, you are going through abuse, you have the right to make a report to police, if it's in a domestic situation, to DOFSU, so that it is investigated and the perpetrator is punished. The fact that you make a report to the police will not make you less of a man. It is your right, and you can have access to justice.
So there's a follow-up question by Kwame Che from Bekwai Asante. He says, please, does the police have the right to take money for bail without court? We've already spoken about that. People are afraid going to court because of the high rates of illiteracy. What should I do if I'm denied bail and I do not have a lawyer? What do I do?
He's denied bail by the police, and he also doesn't have a lawyer.
Yes.
Of course, he will not sleep in the police station all his life.
So he should be there as long as he can.
No. What I mean to say, he had to find the context. He doesn't have. But my good friends here have already, my dear lady, for instance, explained how a member of your family or relative, whatever, can go to a nice level, wherever. So if that is it, then he knows what to do. Yeah. But other than that, if he's looking at possibly the possibility he, as the victim, having his right to be able to do what he wants to do, then he has to bid his time, and whenever he comes out, he knows he can then instruct the law. He knows there are certain things you can't do anything about unless and until it has happened. And there are certain things which are just like that. If somebody threatens that you arrest me, fair enough. How much can I protect myself against the arrest? But when he arrests me, I can have the time to run him through the system. Maybe I'm a lawyer, but I'm being honest with you. I mean, it doesn't even take a lawyer to be able to do the kind of thing, because we have clients, people as our clients on whose behalf these matters are fought. A lot of people go to court even without lawyers. So the issue of human rights must not be limited to people who have lawyers and whatever. It's just that as a society, maybe through this type of program, people can become more enlightened and know more about their own rights and know more about how to activate their rights in all kinds of ways. Other than that, you could make a lot of noise and shout and disturb them and do everything that you can, then they will beat you. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth of the matter.
Lois, you want to add?
Yeah, so I wanted to speak about the mandate of the SHRAJ, which is the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. This is a state institution that have been mandated to preside over human rights violation in our society. So if you don't have a lawyer and you are going through any of these violations, you are supposed to take advantage and identify the SHRAJ office in your community, and then walk to the office and report these human rights.
You are in cells. Okay, so your family members
yes,
can do that on your behalf.
Yeah, you are not living alone. Even if you are living alone, once you walk out, identify the SHRAJ office. Walk to their office. Many times they even talk about, especially in their district, many people don't even know their mandate, their use. So
if you don't know your SHRAJ office, please.
Yeah. So they are there with the SHRAJ and they don't even make effective use of them. Once I even went to a community and the legal aid office has turned into a photocopy office. So I even thought they were photocopying there. I worked there. Are you sure that this is? He said, oh, this is the legal aid office, but they're doing photocopy as a side thing because community members don't even know their mandate. So please, we have SHRAJ offices, we have legal aid offices. These are state institutions that have the mandate to provide you with human rights support and then legal aid services, so that when you go through any human right violation, such as police infringing on your right And then all these that we are discussing, they are already, I mean, they are there to provide you with immediate legal aid support.
So please, use the state institution, and it's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
So someone is asking, what will I get when police detain me for an offense which is false? Can I charge the police, and what will I get?
The law, this is civil rights, is that if the police take you through the, I'll put the court system, that is to say, they start by arresting you, they start by prosecuting you, and there is enough basis for you to know that from the time of the arrest through the time of prosecution, there was no proper basis for what they did. In other words, they did what they did just to spite you. They did what they did to show where power lies. The law is that if you go through successfully, in other words, and at the end of the day you are acquitted and discharged, you can have an action for what we call malicious prosecution. Malicious prosecution essentially is the thought of putting someone through the legal system without a basis or proper basis. And of course, you can add false imprisonment to it, because if they did all of that, detain you, and they all add up, and you can get damages at the end of it.
How much are we looking at?
Well, this is our judges, our courts. They are very stingy when it comes to. They're very stingy. Sometimes it's very embarrassing. Sometimes very embarrassing. That's what my lady was talking about from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? If somebody has to run through the court system, you have a lawyer run through about 5 years, and at the end of the day, the judge gives you 12,000 or 50. No, it's not like what they do in America. No, I'm being honest with you.
Because America, they're getting $5 million and $10 million.
No. If you get 50,000, it means you did all night for by 1 year before you can get the 50,000.
There'll be a
dissenting.
No, it's a serious dissenting. Our judges don't.
So why
really,
would people want to take?
No. The word of damages naturally runs or is commensurate with the system, that economic system that we are in.
Then what's the use of a right if it can't be protected?
Yeah.
Well, so protection is not necessarily the word of heavy damages. You know what I'm saying? But vindication even of that right.
Yeah.
The vindication that you're going through the system and the court has made the order that the officer who did it abused you by running through the system. You can follow it up, and it can have consequences for his own promotion and for his own disciplinary action and so forth and so on. But however little these things are, it is my honest belief that if citizens or Ghanaians for that matter go through this thing, these small things, they will count.
Yeah.
And people will sit up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my honest view.
Yeah. Princess Combat is saying, watching live from Adenta. Well done, Lois and the team. Pokasti Simon, watching you live from Tishi. Thank you, Pokasti. Aboka Jamaica says, Madam Loisado, you are great. By Prince. Hey, before I give you fast foul. All right, so final words, and let's round up.
Well, so what I would say to our viewers is that you have some legally guaranteed rights, and if they are violated, you have every right to vindicate them. So it's very important that you take your rights seriously, get to know your rights, and also if you need any education, as my colleague mentioned, you can visit the offices of SHRAJ, Legal Aid, and other NGOs who are into human rights so that they can guide and assist you to be able to vindicate your rights. Basically, that's what I would say.
Rose?
I would say that human rights are your fundamental rights. So it's good that you make time to read about them, and then also know the agencies that are also responsible to protect your rights. It will help you access justice.
I will say this one, a statement that once I made in court. Once I made an application for bail in the court, and the policeman was resisting me very fiercely, and somehow I got tripped. And I told the judge, I said, my lord, I want the policeman to understand that when we come to this court, I will make application for bail. We are not asking for favors. We are asking for constitutionally enshrined rights. And those rights were not put in the constitution because somebody slept in Ghana, woke up the next day and decided that Ghanaians must have those rights. Those rights came about as a result of a long struggle in this country. In the course of that struggle, some died, some were maimed, some were chased into exile, and all that. I mean, the judge saw, say, hey, this man doesn't know that you have been former Nooks president. And that's what it, so essentially the price of liberty as we say is eternal vigilance.
Yeah.
The people who think that no, we are all good Christians, but for the sake of Christ, let us not joke with the little rights even that we have. You protect it. Some people have died for us to have these rights today. And the little that you can do is to stand on your rights and ensure that the proper thing is done. It may involve some inconvenience. It may involve hardship. It may involve embarrassment. It may involve inconvenience. But that is your little bit of the price that other people have paid. And if we all did that, I'm telling you that a time will come in this country that policeman will respect you, a soldier will respect you. Here the people in their uniform, that's the end of the matter. A soldier is in uniform, and therefore wherever he is, he must be right. It's not so. It's not so in Nigeria. No, I have lived in Nigeria before. You dare not. If a policeman, he said for your pocket. You must respect him. If he doesn't respect you, I mean, you're not going to just have it easy. I have seen a civilian at Murtala International Airport who came into the airport in the dead of night about 2 a.m. The soldier was sleeping fully on this. He just came and tapped and asked him to get up and sit so that he can sit and read. This can never happen in Ghana. Because it's mutual respect. And they know that if you mess up, they also mess up. That's the way it is. I hope we come to this in this country one day. And it's because that is the way it is.
Yeah. That is the way it is. It's your right. We can tell you what they are. We can tell you how to protect it. We can tell you where to go to protect it. But at the end of the day, only you can really protect your right. Only you can protect what is yours. So while you learn the theories, while you learn where to go to, please, at least stand up for yourself sometimes. And as Senior said, people have died for these rights that you are enjoying. Maybe it's time to do a little bit for yourself to protect these rights. So thank you for joining us today. So next week, same time, we'll be meeting. And this time we'll be looking at episode 5 to 10. Episode 5 to 10. If you are wondering what is episode 5 to 10 of season 1, just go to the Lord Chamber Ghana on Facebook. You can watch all of it there. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can bring it there. It's on your family. It's on family law. So your marriage, before you get married, after you get married, should you change your name, adoption, divorce? We're going to discuss all that. And that one too is going to be question and answers. So all your questions should be sent to us before today or before next week, that is. And even next week, you can send it to our pages and we'll share it. And our lawyers will be answering it for you. So any question you have on that, please share.